Hello, Helen, you're here now.
Hello, and that meet you and me again. Now I can hear.
Yes, I can hear you too.
Are you able to hear them?
No,
No, I can't hear. I can't hear them.
now I can.
Yes.
Gamal and Helen, can you hear us?
Yes,
I can
hear
now.
Yes.
So we need to just put yours up.
The bubble light fixing on.
Yeah, finally. Looks so much better down there.
It's also nice knowing that.
Gamal, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you. Helen, can you hear us, Helen?
Yes, I can, and can actually see you as well at the table.
Yes, okay. All
And
right.
I guess if we're fairly quiet, it won't matter too much if we're not saying much.
That's okay. Thank you, Helen.
Thank you.
Are we all live now? All right.
And they just put them back on the screens.
I'll put the agenda up.
I didn't get you on that. There was a flyer, someone talking about third party right away. And they had a QR code. I'm not sure who was circulating. That was council.
I've lost you again.
Helen, when we're sharing the screen, you will lose us.
No,
Okay.
look, it's fine. I can, as long as I can hear you, it's fine. I can hear you. I can't see you. That's all.
Yeah, and we will be sharing the screen so you can't see us. You will see the agenda. We can see you, but we
Yes.
can see you.
Okay,
and
that's
Gamal.
fine. That's fine.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So back to apologies to everyone again. There was just some technical issues there. So we had an apology for absence from Debbie. We have Gamal and Helen on Zoom, and has been moved by Mark and seconded by Hank. And all those in favor say aye. Against? Carried. Okay. So declarations of interest, anybody needs to declare anything? No, all good. No declarations of interest recorded. And then confirmation of previous minutes. Do I have a mover? Mark, and seconded by Tyler. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Carried. Now, public forum. So under the, what was it again?
Standing orders.
Standing orders. That's lost it in a moment. So according to the standing orders, we have 30 minutes. We are allowed 30 minutes for public forum. 6 people speaking. So we have strictly 5 minutes. We cannot extend anymore. So if the speakers use up, well, not all of the 5 minutes, we can still have questions. But if you use up the 5 minutes, then we don't have time for questions. Oh, so first up, we have the Canterbury Polyfest. Vianney Macalio, please come to the table. Welcome. And you're from, you know, everybody else here? No? Like,
I see them bit better.
get a shout out, start with Hank. Introduce just.
Are my slides available on?
Oh, Hank, just have to wait. Introduce first while we're doing the slides.
Yep, Hank from Hornby.
Tyler?
Tyler from Who Knows.
Oh, yeah,
Where.
Fiona, you know me. My lover.
Sarah, Hornby Community Board.
Mark Peters, Council for Hornby.
Andre Moore, Halswell.
And we have on Zoom, Kamal and Helen, both from Riccarton.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
And I'm Marie, I'm Halswell
Awesome.
board member. And we've got your slides just in time.
Perfect.
Cool. And we've got timer, go.
Sweet. Wa talo falava malo lei ni sampolo vanaka namaste kia ora talo hani malo ni whakalawhalai atu and warmest Pacifica greetings to you all. My name is Vianga Makalio and I'm a representative of the Spec Pack collective. I've got a lot of information to go through, so I'll go straight into it. Who are we as the Spec Pack collective? If you go to the next slide, sorry. So the SPACPAC Collective, we created some initiatives that service our Pacific students for across Canterbury. And so a part of that is that we celebrate and preserve Pacific culture. We foster community engagement and inclusivity. We educate the public about Pacific traditions and values. We provide a platform for young performers and artists. We connect Pacific students with educational career pathways. We empower Pacific youth through various opportunities, and we promote networking among leaders. So if you go back one slide, so there's
Go back one slide.
Sorry.
Mouse.
That's right. Cool. So there are 7 initiatives. So these are our first initiatives, and this is to achieve our goals that we established. And so SPACPAC Pacific Leadership Retreat, a retreat designed to develop leadership skills among Pacific youth. And then we have our SPACPAC Pacific Youth Awards, which is an award ceremony recognizing the achievements of Pacific youth. And we also pair them up with a mentor or a group where they can actually jump in and do a day in the life of. And then we've got the SPACPAC Canterbury Polyfest, which I'll talk to a little bit more after this. And then SPACPAC Pacific Dragons Den, which is an entrepreneurial competition encouraging Pacific youth to present business ideas. And then we have SPACPAC Canterbury Pacific Expo, an expo providing information on educational and career opportunities. We've got the SPACPAC Canterbury Pacific Speech Competition, a competition to hone the public speaking skills of Pacific students and to nurture our Pacific languages in Canterbury. And then finally, we have the SPACPAC Leaders Breakfast, a networking event for Pacific leaders, educators, and community members, and to celebrate the success of our Pacific student. Our focus is around the primary and the secondary schools. And if you go to the next, you can just slide through the next 2. Cool. So our biggest initiative is SPACPAC Canterbury Polyfest, where we have around 25,000 attendees every single year. And this is about creating a vibrant celebration for Pacific culture, arts, and community. It provides a platform for showcasing the rich traditions of Pacific heritage, including music, dance, food, and crafts. New addition that we're doing next year, is a Pacific marketplace. And then SPACPAC Canterbury Polyfest attracts a diverse audience with over 25,000 attendees and makes it the largest Pacific event in the South Island. If you skip through a couple of times. Yeah.
That right?
No, you've gone too far. That's right. Yeah, so this is the event for Polyfest is on Saturday, 22nd of March, 2025 at North Hagley Special Events Area. And yeah, so we, over the years, it's been a Pacific event for Pacific people, but what we're really wanting to do is actually that this is a event for all of our city. And so we really wanted to broaden the scope. So today I'm coming to present that this is an opportunity for all of the community boards to hear about us and then hopefully share that out to your communities as well. Yeah, so that's me in a nutshell.
Lovely. Oh, look forward to that Polyfest. Any questions? Good. Tyler.
Cool. Faye, if you're able to go back to the events, if you go further up. Yeah, I think it's
slide
1,
3.
2, 3. Yeah, slide 3 and 4. So there's some really great initiatives that the council's funded through the Strengthening Communities Fund, to my knowledge, and it might have been the Events and Festivals Fund. One of them was the Leadership Retreat. Another one was the Polyfest itself, which we're still working on. But where are the really big, I guess, key issues in terms of funding, predominantly within this area? You're seeing quite a few within Hornby, Halswell-Hornby-Riccarton. Could you just elaborate a bit more into what struggles you're actually having in terms of outcomes?
Yeah, I guess it's the financial sustainability of all of the initiatives. And so outcomes that we're struggling with at the moment are really that we can't provide all the services that we want to in each initiative. So if we could, we would layer all of these with how they achieve their NCEA, how they achieve different outcomes for the community, how they partner with the community as well. But because we're struggling to get funding, obviously, with the changing dynamics in the funding area. So we are struggling to kind of find a strong foundation to keep evolving all of the initiatives and to add those layers on.
And when we were talking, you were talking about having a different sustainability model, which is actually really welcomed in a lot of facets. Can you just elaborate a bit more on that?
Yeah, so at the moment, our financial stability is tough. We apply in July, and then we find out around the October, November, and then we start planning from there, which isn't sustainable in any measure of it, especially when PodFest is the biggest event in the South Island for Pacific. And so, yeah, it is about looking at different ways that we can probably fix that. So looking at strategic partnerships with different organizations that could give us a 3-year funding option. And then that way we'll have a platform and a bottom line that we can work from. And then the other option is that, which is an option we don't really want to do, but it is looking at ticketing.
Right.
Is another option. Yeah.
Thank you. Your time is
Yeah.
so thank you very much. We look forward to the event,
Cool.
your upcoming events. Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. And we have next, the change manager, Claire, along with Rebecca and Peter, who will address the board regarding the Action the Compassion Program. Right.
Minute.
Or
Do we have some slides somewhere?
Bring on the way. Just bear with me a minute. I'm trying to.
Family
Here.
today, I'm loving this.
And this one.
Is it all Riccarton?
No, there's networks, just.
Right. Time starts now.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Rebecca Inch. I work at a charity called Seed the Change, and we're all about seeding joyful change for a world in balance. I'm here to speak to you today about Action the Compassion Youth Hui. So this initiative is currently in its 3rd year, and it's continuing on the work of Mehia Te Aroha, which was an initiative spawned after the compassionate response we saw on March 15th. So we're here to tell you a little bit of good news that's happening in the region. So I'll pass it on to Peter to tell you more.
Hello everyone, I'm Peter, year 11 at Hillmorden High School. We had a few students from Hillmorden High School and St. Andrews College be part of the co-design committee to design these 2 huis for other students all around the region. As being part of the co-design committee, we had to share ideas. Thanks to Claire and Rebecca for setting a foundation for us. We had to share our ideas, and all the ideas that were shared to make the hui better were welcome. We shared various ideas that helped make the hui better. As you can see in the photo, that's all of us sitting around discussing various topics. We were discussing things such as how the day is going to run, what speakers we would like to have there, the messages that will be said. For our 2 huis, they were about peace and compassion, and one was about inclusivity. Both of them had multiple speakers. I attended both the huis. They ran really smoothly. We had multiple speakers. 2 of us on both of them, part of the co-design committee, were presenting. All the speakers had great messages. We got a lot of positive feedback from the first one, which led us onto the second one. All the messages were really strong, such as we had Kate Dews talk about, she was part of the Nuclear Free. She talked about her journey, and then we had the ex-mayor as well talk about what she had to go through after the March 15th attack. Both of those helped the students see different ways that they haven't seen, especially for me personally. It helped me change my mindset and how I saw things. And then at the end of the second hui, we had to put all the students from the same school together to discuss ideas to make their well-being committees better for the future. And I'll pass it back to Rebecca.
Before I close up, what would you say that you enjoyed the most about the process?
Personally, as working part of the co-design committee and being in the huis, I really enjoyed working with a team that could share ideas comfortably and have all these conversations in the huis that you wouldn't usually have with other classmates or other people within your area, which I felt was really well. And I really enjoyed all the messages that the speakers gave.
Thank you so much, Peter. So looking forward into the future, into 2025, we intend to continue the hui's. We have had students all across the region attend, and we will continue that, fostering those networks. And over the summer, I will create a website which will be a central hub for the wellbeing committees in all high schools in Christchurch. So thank you so much for listening. We just wanted to share that compassion is alive and well in our society, and we just hope that we can connect and you can follow us, our journey.
Great, lovely to hear that. Thank you. We have room for 1 or 2 questions. Tyler?
Kia ora, guys. I was really lucky to be one of the speakers in the first one, and I noticed the diversity of those who turned up. Can you talk to us about the different schools that were involved in the hui itself, not necessarily the planning of it, and what they may have gained from it?
Yeah, so we reached out to just about every school I could get a hold of on Wikipedia. So everyone was invited. I think we had about 6 different schools at the first one and 3 at the second one. In terms of diversity, we had public schools, private schools, everyone. I found that reaching out to the really rural schools that don't usually get a lot of attention was really helpful, like Amuri, Oxford, Duffield. Yeah.
Right.
That's great.
Okay, the screen's frozen. You actually have 30 seconds left. Yeah.
I haven't really got a question, but I am impressed with what you do. And to be fair, honest to my ignorance, it's the first time I've heard of you.
Oh, yeah, no.
So it's
new and reasonably small, so don't.
It's good to have you here. It is really good to hear the work you're doing. I'm impressed. It's good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Shout out, guys.
That's very, it's time. Thank you. Right. When's the photo? Right. Thank you. Now, up next, we have Ms. Benjamin Habinshuti. It's a report back to the board on his experience at the Under-16 National Basketball Tournament. He's not here? Okay,
I was looking forward to that one.
Peter Simmons?
Nope.
Not yet here? Okay.
Gamal has his hand raised.
Gamal, you have something to say?
Yeah, thank you, Marie. I just wanted to invite this group to come to a Nur Mosque and talk to a person like me who actually got affected by 15th of March terror attack, and so that we can cooperate and we can do lots of things together so that we can tackle the hate around there, which is still continuing, and I'm still getting hate messages on Facebook as well, particularly where the courts are going at the moment. Thank you for your hard work. I really appreciate it, but it is my first time as well to hear about you. So thank you for reaching out, and I'll get your contact details and I will contact you as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gamal. Governance manager will connect you with the group, and so you can start continue discussions there. All right. So Peter Simmons for Harrington Park, not here. Oh, this is.
He's got a shoulder injury, so
right.
He may or may not.
Linda Gill and Wendy Marshall is here about Taggart Reserve. Come forward, please.
There's a
presentation
for that too.
All right, we'll just bring up your presentation.
Yeah, you don't need to. I mean, I send it through so you can all look at it because
it's on
I know that time runs short.
Okay.
You can see it as much as you want, and we'll be very quick.
Okay.
Because we'd like to give you time for questions if we have. So, thank you for giving us the time. It's amazing being here again. Actually, it's very cool. So, Wendy Marshall, my neighbour of 39 years, started all this with her vision, and I jumped in behind her and said, yep, that's a great idea. of a native oasis in Taggart Reserve, which is down on Middle Park Road, between there and the new Taggart Place, full of birds and insect life. She's very enthusiastic. She's been getting people on board and promoting it. It's fabulous and it's totally achievable. So as you know, our area, Riccarton Hornby, is low in tree cover and attractive outside spaces to visit in our little corner. So this will be a great asset, providing nature space and linking to other nearby reserves, and that would help extend the Tui corridor for the birds to move through the city by providing another spot that they can land in on their way through. There are a few of us involved so far, and we've been speaking with Colin Merck, who I'm sure you know is environmental ecologist in Christchurch, council elected members, thanks Tyler, and other people who've been supportive, and staff. We've connected with Millie Stead, who's our community partnership ranger, and that's an update on the first thing I sent out because she's been in touch since. So the plan, which Millie's sent us and which you should have got yesterday, it's a draft landscape plan, was developed by the urban design team to address the complex challenges of the site, which includes the transmission corridor and the cycleway and lighting and sightlines. It's been reviewed by relevant teams regarding recession planes and to ensure it aligns with all necessary requirements. So it's comprehensive, but it's still draft. Park staff support it, and the creation of this plan shows a level of commitment to advancing that development. To date, there is no formal approval of or internal funding for the project, and we realise that this meeting is not the appropriate place, that you can't do that now. But we would ask that the board consider formally approving the landscape plan at a future date and allocating the necessary funding. Ranger Millie Stead has indicated her willingness to support this in due course with a formal decision report.
Okay. Now, I'm a neighbour of Taggart, and so I have seen it as horse paddock and now a reserve. Well, first of all, I'm going to read one of the letters that we've got for you, an attachment, and it's from two students, Emily and Eleanor from OLV school, and they wrote this on the 16th of June when the council was reprioritising various projects, and we had to apply to see, give them reasons why it should go ahead. And this is, Dear Sir, Madam, we are writing on behalf of the plain, empty piece of land on Middle Park Road. I think we could plant some more trees for the native birds of South Island. That way we can learn about the birds, insects and trees like an enormous classroom. Our school values are sustainability, excellence, service, social justice and respect. And being involved with this project, we should show all of these. Now, we easily involved 3 schools for a start off. We have a catchment of over 2,000 children, most of them 1,500 within walking distance of this piece of land. And so OLV was very, very keen. I talked to the principal and he said, right, you've got 5 minutes. And I told him, and he said, okay, yes. And that's the person that will lead it. So it was easy. Also, Villa Maria and St. Thomas Canterbury College.
Right. Right. So that's right.
Yeah, I mean, if you have questions, you've got lots of information in front of you. We can't possibly cover it all now. So any questions?
So we did receive all the plans that you've sent through. It was circulated also to the board. And we will be able to forward it to staff and ask for their advice and back to us and see what they say.
Cool.
But in the meantime, we have one room for question.
Oh, no, it was just, I usually get things done internally, which is really, really good under our urban forest strategy. And I think this is actually a really good way forward to get that done.
Right.
And there are parks that might want to be pushed out a bit further, where we could maybe find an easy way to slot that in. If we can do that. If not, then I'm quite happy to do a notice of motion to just get it in front of council.
Right. Okay.
Happy to support you. I don't think it'll be needed. I think we'll be able to find some.
Good. Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you. I think parks are ready to go. They're really happy.
But we will do a request to staff for an update.
So the book,
The book, yep. You want to
the
read it?
board, refers matters raised to staff and requests an update to staff. Already had a request.
Easy.
A previous.
And update and advice
Yeah.
on progression.
I think the key problem was the park rangers just kept changing. They were leaving, so no one picked it up. So
Right, yeah. Good. So next we've got Luke Chandler to address us regarding Church Corner. Come forward, Luke. Thank you.
This up.
Right.
I do have a video on here, so sorry, Helen and Gamal. I'm
Thank
happy
you.
to send it through to you if needed. But as we're aware, there's been some contentious issues around Church Corner. I'm not speaking to the stuff that's before the council. That's completely out of the scope of what I'm talking about. What I want to talk to you today is about the atrocious design that is outside the Woolworths supermarket and how dangerous this is for not only road users, but I use a moped and I bust here today because I'm not safe, confident driving that bit of road where someone might easily wipe me out. On 3 different occasions, let's try to do a slideshow.
Yeah, sounds good. Don't stop now.
Probably the last song I used to describe the situation.
So this was one of the first nights that the design was open. Casually driving and someone decides to just drive straight in front of us and cut us off. No indication. And then obviously they're going straight through to Main South Road. And again, another night, I think this was a couple of nights later, there's clearly signage there. People can see that you have to merge into the right lane. No one indicates. And you will see, I think it's in this one, someone does the same thing by doing the same thing again. And again, it's a common pattern. It's all the time. Now, there are people out there going to say, this is normal road design. I don't think it's normal road design blocking up the lane that previously went there. And in the council's own strategy video, it says the idea of this was to stop cars from weaving in and out of lanes. Well, in reality, you've made it worse by cars actually now weaving in and out of lanes. So hopefully, I know this was always in the original plan, and it might have had a little bit of an oversight when we were talking about other bits and pieces. But hopefully the council or the community board can go back to road designers and say, can we make this bit of road safer? Because me as a road user, I feel significantly less safe at this piece of road than I did before.
All right, right. Thank you. I've got questions from Mark and then Tyler.
So I would be picking that from what we've seen there. And the fact you're here is that you'd probably like us to find a way of removing those lumps or making them safer, so the left lane.
Or making the road layout safer in general, if that's, I don't know what other options there are. I'm not opposed to if there's other options and other designs out there. It doesn't need to be necessarily removing that bit of infrastructure. It's just one, probably quite expensive to go rip it out. So if something else can be done, I'd be all ears for it.
Cool. Could I ask that we perhaps refer this towards staff for a report?
We
At the
forward to staff for
For advice. Yeah. You can refer the matters raised to staff and ask them for
advice.
Investigation and advice, perhaps.
Yeah.
Happy
Yeah, and at the earliest convenience would be useful.
the item is in 6 days.
in 6 days.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
There will be questions from elected members and council about this.
I did also have one other thing that I wanted to quickly talk about. The removal of the slip lane on Main South Road onto Curlitz Road has also caused congestion issues, and preliminary data from ECAN that I received this afternoon has said it's adding around about 7 minutes to bus times on the 5 route, because obviously buses have to wait to go around the corner, and that is a flow-on effect to the rest of the city, which is completely reversing what the regional council are trying to do with encouraging public transport use.
Counterintuitive.
There was a, just for further information, there was a few complaints that I've had in regards to that. And that was based on the timing of the traffic lights, which Fulton Hogan didn't, run by staff. And there was at one time a backup all the way back to the Stockburn roundabout.
Yep,
That's crazy.
Because Fulton Hogan, I don't want to throw them under the bus here, excuse the pun. Where the timing of the traffic lights didn't actually line up to what the changes were supposed to be.
Sequencing.
Teething issues.
Yeah.
Like-
I'm also aware it's a state highway, so it makes timing changes a little bit more difficult as well.
Yeah, but we can look into that.
But yeah, fantastic.
It's good.
Okay.
I'll just add that into your, and then it'll be covered by the Ken staff investigator and that's the request.
Quick one from here.
Yeah, just a comment. I must admit, I drove through it this afternoon, been both in 3 directions.
Mhm.
Because it's the first time I've been away for a bit.
Yep.
First I've seen it. To say I'm bitterly disappointed would be an understatement. Because to me, it does the exact opposite of what everybody's trying to achieve.
Yep.
Yeah. It just,
Big as well.
I thought the thing was still in discussion. But yeah, obviously council or somebody decided differently.
I don't know if it was still in discussion because the
It was approved by us.
By the board unanimously.
Yeah. But it was under discussion.
No, it was
No,
approved by all of us.
although it
It
doesn't
was an
appear
oversight because everybody was focused on one
The
thing,
roads, yeah.
so,
it doesn't appear in the plans proposed by the
Yes,
council for the main South Road Riccarton Road
okay.
intersection. It doesn't appear in that part. So I don't know if it was an oversight mistake or they just didn't put it on the plans, but it doesn't appear there either.
All right.
It's
Okay.
interesting planning.
Thank you, Luke.
Thank you.
Thanks, Luke.
Helen, we
Thanks,
have
Luke.
no time for that.
Yes.
We've got one
Yes.
time for Cody
Yes.
to come to
Are you
speak
able
to
to-
us.
To take a comment? Sorry.
We're moving on to the next speaker. We have Cody coming to speak with us.
Yeah.
Hello, Cody.
We're good.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me today. Look, unlike Luke, I actually don't drive. I can't. For medical reasons, I bike. I had medical treatment at Bush Inn for about 3 years. During that time, I didn't bike there, and I won't bike there today. And that's because it's designed for cars. It's one of the busiest streets in the city, and I actually don't see that changing as well. What I do see as an issue that actually wasn't a focus of those changes at all is actually lack of enforcement for dangerous driving on our roads, contributing to deaths and serious injury. While there've been some improvements in the area, and I acknowledge that, if we wanted to reduce crashes in the area, we probably would have seen some changes to speed limits or even red light cameras. Would have probably even been cheaper as well. We already know that red lights were ignored about 340 times an hour in Christchurch. It's about 5 times a minute. In 2018, the Christchurch Transport Operations Centre actually found the worst intersection was Curlitz Road and Main South Road, which was part of that package of changes. But I didn't see any suggestion from anyone that actually that would be something that we would look at for that intersection. We've got 2 others in the city, and I think maybe 1 else in the South Island. Look, even biking here today, I saw at least 5 vehicles. We're breaching, various traffic rules. I cycled from Hornby to this venue, one of which was completely blocking the cycleway, and it just makes things very difficult. I also spoke to local cycling connections over major cycleways in the long-term plan process. So I was disappointed to see the removal of the Halswell-Hornby cycleway. As part of that long-term plan, I hope maybe that we could see that return in the next annual plan. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Cody. We've got Andre, Mark.
But just to point, of course, police enforcement speed limits, we're not allowed to pick our own speed limits anymore. But red light cameras, I know council started installing some, so it would be quite good to just get some staff advice on how they've been operating thus far and whether there's other locations they're considering and what criteria they use for what locations they do consider. Because they can issue infringement fees from them. So that helps pay for themselves as well. So yeah, it would be good to get an update on
For an update
on first off, how they're working, if they've been successful, are they considering others and where?
That's a good question.
Thank you. Got that, Faye?
So you want to refer them at it and
we would like
ask for staff advice
on red light cameras.
Red light
the policy
cameras.
behind in relation to red light cameras.
Policy, how it's working, how the new ones are working, whether they're looking at other
Update,
sites, and what the process is for identifying, basically.
Sorry, Andrea, just say that as well. Some other councils around the country as well. So if you take a picture, same as with Snaps and Sulphurate, those councils will actually enforce based on that, and Christchurch doesn't.
No, we don't. Yeah.
There's a policy decision as well, and I can't understand it. Council spent, actually, we don't know, because in the latest draft asset management plan, we actually don't know how much money was spent on cycleways. I'll presume it's a lot, right? A valuable asset that we have, and when it's being misused, actually, there's no enforcement.
Sorry, Faye, can we also please get some on sensor enforcement that other councils are doing, but we're not, and if we have reviewed that policy, our policy of enforcement via snap send solve. In line with other councils.
Just of note as well, down Middle Park Road, there is
lights, like camera lights,
separate
light cameras.
No,
it's about enforcement. Parking in certain ways.
Andre, there actually is a portable camera of sorts that's deployed down Middle Park Road. I don't know how or when that happened.
Oh, I can help with it. I had quite a few people complain about the misusing of the cycleways parking outside. So then I passed it on to staff, and then they came back and installed portable cameras, particularly around the winter period when people were waiting for sport.
Can they be redeployed somewhere else?
They can. Yep, they can. Yeah. So that we can ask for that. Yeah. No worries.
All right. Helen, you've got a question?
Yes, it probably relates to what Luke was saying. I've had a complaint about the main South Road taking away the slip lane. So I've sent it through to Bailey, and I'll follow that up, because that was one of the things I was concerned about. There doesn't seem to be now a slip lane, so you have to go out and then back in. And I think that probably the whole intersection has to actually be looked at. That's Curlitz Road, main South Road. But there are issues with what we're currently doing, actually, other than the church corner issue.
Thank you, Helen. I've got Mark and then Tyler, and very quick ones, please.
So you mentioned the Halswell to Hornby cycle route. Is that thinking about perhaps Amy's Road, Awatea Road? Through on
Dunbar? A couple of curb cuts and it's done, basically. It's a little bit of missing footpath. It's not major.
No. I'll let you know that our traffic engineer has been looking at Amy's Road particularly. So they've looked to reseal, they'd actually be able to put them in, but we've struck some issues with Amy's Road, so we may see that pushed back a bit while it gets rebuilt rather than resealed.
Right.
The adjacent street might be fine.
Yeah.
It's also got through from Springs, I think it is.
We'll ask for some advice on that one as well.
All right. Okay, thank you. Just a quick one.
Sorry, we can chat offline.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Cody. All right. Cheers. So that's it for our public forum, and we don't have deputations, and there are also no presentation of petitions to the board. So we now move on to staff reports. And first up, we've got Felix Dawson on the Paparua Small Board Club proposed new lease. Welcome, Felix.
Thanks. The report pretty much speaks for itself. It's a small, long-standing club, quite active. Straightforward new lease. As far as I'm concerned, have you got any questions?
Helen's got a question, and then Mark.
Yes, thank you. I'm a bit concerned about the length of the lease. Is there a clause which looks at it every 11 years?
Yeah, so it's renewed every 11 years.
Oh, good. Okay. And if we wanted to pull out, we could at that point?
Yeah. There's a provision that allows for consideration of whether it's the best use of the site.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Right. Mark?
Interested to see that their current lease has expired. Has it been expired for long?
It's not that long. It's been holding over for a while. It's backlog.
Yeah, it's quite a common occurrence.
Yeah,
it's not only.
We've had a few like that.
Yeah, it's quite, they really just carry on the existing terms.
Yeah.
So nothing changes really at our end.
More than happy to move this.
I have a question first. So in paragraph 4.3, you mentioned that their income is at the low end, but at 4.4, you said that they are financially stable. So how confident are you that they are without, or at least the risk that we have? Because you mentioned in 4.8.3 that there is a risk.
Well, I suppose they're financially stable with a low income. In other words, they don't have much money, but they're consistently, they can get by.
So
which is
what
quite
are
common for small.
what are the implications if at some stage they suddenly drop off financially?
Well, if a club folds, effectively, then they will relinquish the lease.
Yeah. So,
generally.
Yeah.
We try to avoid that really. They own the building, so they've got an obligation to move it. If we don't want it,
right.
We can't find an alternative use. So, with clubs like this who set up their own building, it's in everyone's interest really that they continue if there's a need and interest in it. They struggle along. You might like to consider this when the new rental policy comes through. A lot of sporting clubs are finding it difficult with the rental increases that have sort of kicked in the last 2 years. And of course, they've got insurance costs that are going up all the time. So the rent for clubs like this is set by a formula, and was established over 20 years ago, and the rents have now crept up to a very difficult level. So it's a little pitch from me on behalf of all the clubs. When the rent policy comes in, you'll probably be hearing about it.
Very good.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
So yeah,
Great.
that's an issue in terms of finances.
Okay, cool. Any other questions? Anybody else with any questions?
No, happy to keep ticking on. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. If you can please,
Mark moved it.
yeah. So Mark's moved it and Sarah's seconded. Any debate? No.
I think it's good.
So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against?
Aye.
Right. So carried.
Well done.
I've been there most of my life, driving down Waterloo.
Yeah.
Thank you, Felix.
Right. Next one, we've got Elizabeth. Grant an easement for fiber installation at 8 Waikola Avenue, Waikola Reserve.
Okay, so again, it's quite self-explanatory, the actual report, but it's for Kids First who lease the land at the rear. And obviously with business these days, you need the fibre, and the process to get fibre installed across the reserve. That's why I'm here. Yeah. And then this is only the beginning, and they've got other things to do in the dock, etc. So we're getting quite a few of these, and we're actually getting the sports clubs now coming through and wanting fibre for their streaming and etc. So this is, as I said, I think I've done 3 or 4 in the last few weeks.
Wow, good work.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions?
Happy to move.
If you can. Thank you. Questions? No, nobody's got questions. Thank you.
You've done it well. Good report.
Right. And so moved by Mark and seconded by Hank. And all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against? No, carried. Thank you. Good. Thank you. Now we move on to Holly on Oakhampton Reserve and Rosella Reserve Play Space Renewal Plans. Here we go.
Kia ora koutou.
Good to see you.
Kia ora, I'm Holly. I'm a new project manager in the park team, Play and Rec. Came to you slightly late, apologies, some internal workings, but hopefully the plans were self-explanatory. We're looking to start construction as soon as possible if this is moved. So just here for some questions.
Right, questions, Tyler, and then Mark.
Kia ora.
Kia ora.
I just have some questions around the old capital that's moving on. Like you're
Yep.
replacing some play spaces. What happens to the old swing sets and slides and whatnot?
My understanding is that they get sent to a scrap yard and we get the profits from the scrap, and that's
Sounds
it.
pretty stinky.
Yeah, we do have for anything. So in the renewals, whenever anything is salvageable, we do keep, if it's still to code, if it's still to the place standards, we do keep that. And then if something else, so for example, if you've got a big modular structure and the wall is rotten, but the tunnel, for example, is okay, we'll keep that. And then that goes to stored at Bottle Lake, and then we bring that in if another one needs replacing. So anything salvageable we do keep.
Gotcha.
And if anything's got sort of value, like in some of our parks, we've got some of the surrounds are old railway sleepers that are really, we try and reuse everything we can. And we dig out the soft fall and use that in the garden beds for mulch. So we do do our best to not just scrap things, but yes, if it's not to code, we can't pass it on to a community group because we'd be liable for that.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
The next question's around the nature play spaces. I used to install these quite a bit in Wigram. And referring to page 45, number 5, it's got a couple of rocks and some logs. I mean, is there any bounding or anything like that the kids can play on in terms of, say, BMXs, bikes, things of the sort? Or are we a bit more risk averse than that?
No, I wouldn't say it's a risk averse thing. I should have premised this by saying I've been in the role for about 6 weeks. My predecessor did the design, so I'm doing the delivery. So if I don't have all the answers, apologies. With the mounds, we have done them in other parks, and we often grass them or plant on them, and they get used for the right reasons. And then with usage, they turn into mud mounds, which from my perspective is fine. But then we get complaints about aesthetics because they are.
I see.
And so obviously then when you raise the ground, you're raising above the water table, so plants struggle to survive. So on a personal level, I'm for it, but it often brings in as much issues as it creates because people then don't like the aesthetics of it when it's a mud mound. So yeah, two schools of thoughts on that. This one's not planned, but that's not to say other spaces might have things like that.
Cool, great, thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
My main question's around rubbish bins. Often they're taken out when these sorts of replacement renewals are done.
Yeah.
And I noticed that we're putting in picnic tables in both these renewals. Are there any rubbish bins going to be left in the park for the disposal of rubbish picnics?
So the new school of thought is that when the big belly bins came in, they replaced they reduce maintenance and costs by having less and bigger ones. And these small local parks, it's as they're being renewed, they're getting removed. The school of thought is if you don't provide a bin, people take it home.
They don't.
I haven't got statistics on that. It's when I've recently read our Newsline article that Head of Parks did, they said that is supported by statistics worldwide. I don't have them here at my disposal, but yeah, we get it a lot. People want rubbish bins. I understand why. That is not part of our renewal process at the moment.
Could we at least have the current bins that are in these parks left in place? Because the people I speak to around this are the ones that have to pick up the rubbish that gets left because the bins are full. So if we could consider
liquid low value users.
Yeah, and we often find that if there is a small one, the old ones are the sort of those like wooden small ones, and then when they get overfilled, people just keep piling on top, and then a wind comes through and blows the rubbish around. So I can ask about that, but it's not in the plans for these. We haven't factored it into the budget, and I'm told we're not putting rubbish bins in, but I hear you, yeah. And we get it a lot. We get asked for them all the time. Yeah.
We may need to bring a notice of motion to the table to put bins in. So
yeah.
We'll leave it with you and as well, and we'll keep in touch. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? I'm just curious about one thing. I have no problems with the proposal, the plans, they're all look fine to me. I'm just curious why you would categorize the proposal as like for like when I understand there is additional play equipment and new picnic tables. That doesn't seem to me to be like for like. Is there any other category?
My categorization, it is a community parks one where we are replacing a slide with a slide, a swing with a swing. I guess we're always, when we're looking for renewals, we have to go to the modern equivalent. You know, these in Rosella, it's a bit more of an example of it, but the old tall ladder rung slides that are really popular just don't fit with code anymore. So we often disappoint people in our modern equivalent with slides because of increased safety standards. But we are always looking where budget provides to increase accessibility. You know, if we had the budget, we'd love to have loads of items in small playgrounds accessible. It's the softball is the cheapest option, and the wet paw adds astronomically higher figures. So we're always looking to improve accessibility where possible, and that also includes, you know, I guess at very least providing a footpath to the playground, to a picnic bench, and then an accessible way into the softball that's more directed at sort of pushchair, so a parent caregiver can roll up an infant next to their toddler on the swing rather than a wheelchair, because many wheelchairs aren't designed to go on bark. But yeah, we're just looking to make as many improvements, I guess, for wider users as possible.
So here we're getting like for like and more.
And more, yeah. I'm glad that's what you took from it, yeah.
All right, so we've got Andre and then Mark.
Just for my information, the old modern seesaws these days.
Yeah.
They're very, very low. You can't actually get much bounce out of them. So they're not as fun as they used to be. My question is, do the playground safety standards means that council physically cannot build them up to a certain height? Or they could, but they choose not to? Very specific question about seesaws.
Yeah, that is a very specific.
There's modern woke seesaws that tell you what.
And I guess seesaws come in different forms. Oh, I think the one selected here is actually a springing type, so it's actually not a seesaw. It's all about fall height. It's all about fall height from where the highest point of the apex is that the playground safety standards dictate.
Yeah.
And I don't know off the top of my head exactly what that height is.
No, that's all right.
You're referring to number 3 on page.
On Oakhampton, yeah, number 3. What I'm trying to figure out, is it built like as high as they are allowed as per the standards? That's what I'm sort of trying to figure out.
The ground, you mean the post for the seesaw?
I don't, yeah.
The pivot point.
It looks like a 15-degree angle, if anything.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out, are they built to the maximum allowance in those standards, or whether the council could make them a bit more?
No, we don't want to diminish play value any more than we are allowed to do. Like, we're not putting extra precautions in. I guess
that's all I need to know. That answers the very well. Thank you. That is perfect. Thank you. Yeah.
We believe, I'm speaking on behalf of people who aren't sat here. I don't believe in, avoiding risk beyond what the safety standards dictate.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Cool. Saying there's no fun police on this council. Is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Perfect answer. Perfect answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andre.
Probably more risk in the picnic table than there isn't.
Well, yeah.
And there's a new model because nature play is a really difficult one because you don't buy it off the shelf, and we're trying to explore New Zealand play sector is trying to explore a new model where staff take things outside the play standards and do a risk assessment on them and determine that the risk is worth the risk. So that's a new emerging thing in playground sector, and something we want to sort of, in the recent play survey, we've really heard from kids. They want trees to logs, rocks to jump off. That's been a really pleasant surprise from what kids want, and so we want to push that. But at the moment, we need some more finite boundaries to do that risk assessment.
We used to call them visual amenities if we wanted to get something.
Yeah, it's
Big folders, you
nature
know.
play, the space where play may happen. Yeah, that's not what this is. These will have to be below, so the height, full height for the logs will have to be under the 600. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
I have seen somewhere recently a really cool concept where there was a swing that had mother and child facing each other.
Yeah.
Is that something that we can explore in these sorts of renewals?
Not in this one, but moving forward, yeah, like we several suppliers offer, I think they call them companion swings. Previously we've done the basket swings as a, I guess, slightly more cost-effective option. They have a habit of growing legs and wandering off in certain areas. I'm not sure how it's worked on the companion swings, but yeah, those of us who are working on these definitely like the idea and yeah, always exploring ways for making it broader for users. So yeah, they're definitely within the realm of possibility.
And just looking at the Oakhampton picture, I noticed there's a park bench in the background.
Yeah, I think there's two actually, existing ones.
Yeah, existing up against shrubs.
Yeah.
With a rubbish bin beside it.
Yeah.
Do you know if those are staying or are they going?
One of the biggest bit of feedback, so with the Oakhampton one, we got about 50% of the feedback was related to the playground and about 50% was nothing to do with the playground. I guess the benches sort of included in that. We were going to remove them because it's just additional maintenance, but the feedback was so strong not to that they are actually remaining. So yeah, they're staying.
And if there's any way to engage the community to help, maintain them, perhaps as local Lions or Rotaries clubs.
Yeah, and actually the issue, particularly in one of them there, is that the shrubbery growing over. I know Millie, who was mentioned before, the community partnership ranger, we were actually she is planning a working bee with the community after this to do a sort of peripheral tidy up if there's enthusiasm. So, probably worth mentioning that was more of a sub note in the report previously, but has sort of gained a bit of momentum in the last few days, is that one of the CDAs is going to hopefully work with South Hornby School to do a mural at Oakhampton Reserve. It's going to be a temporary structure because we're still working on getting the fences improved there. We're trying our best. With it sits with staff approval because it's temporary, but that will hopefully build that community energy in that space. So as long as the school are keen, we're keen to pursue that with them, because that was a big piece of feedback from the play surveys done.
Keen as mustard to support that as much as I can.
All right. Well, good. Thank you. Sarah?
Just curious, with the two existing seesaws, they're from what I can see quite similar, but the ones that are being replaced are quite different. What determined which one, why you opted for two different types? And
my predecessor opted for that, and I'm really sorry I don't have the answer.
No, that's okay, because they look quite different.
Yeah, one's a Springer and one's a seesaw, and I'm not sure why that choice was made.
That's okay. And number 4 and on page 45 is the spinner bucket. Is that just for a single person?
Yeah. So it's designed so that they're called accessible so that a person can be placed into them. So it's just for an individual. Yeah, in the initial plan there was a carousel included, but the seesaw was so popular, we kept the seesaw and we're talking about Oakhampton, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and put the spinner bucket in to add that spinning element.
Gotcha.
So they're getting an extra play item. Yeah, plus the play panel, which is a low cost.
Play panels at Rosella, not Oakhampton.
Oh, sorry, that's at Rosella. Yeah, that's the additional thing at Rosella. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Sarah. Anybody else? Mark?
I'm just keen to move. This is awesome.
Okay. Anybody else? No. Helen, Gamal, no question?
No, fine, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Holly. If you can just move back from the table and.
Thank you, Holly. Good to see you back.
No worries. Thank you. Wearing a different hat this time.
Okay. So do I have a mover? Mark and Hank, seconded by Hank. And do we have any debate? No, Mark, you?
Yep. Hey, I'd just like to really thank Holly and the team, your predecessor in getting this through. It's long awaited by the community in Oakhampton, and I think Ravenna as well, to have them being heard, because it was proposed to move the playground to one end of the reserve. And now they've kept it where it is because that's what the community wants. That's stunning. Well done. Good to hear consultation, being responded to positively, and great to see these developments coming into our community. So thank you so much for the team.
Right. Thank you. Anybody else? No? So I'll put it to motion. All those in favor say, oh, hang on. There are 4 recommendations. Are we happy to move them all together as a block?
Yep.
Right. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
None, carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
Get to work now.
Yes, before Christmas.
Thank you.
See you.
So we move on to our DRF
Happy to move.
application.
That's good.
No questions.
I've got a question.
Andre's got a question.
No other sources of funding being applied for. So,
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
I guess I'm just keen to know where we stand on when applications come to us, on which we go back and say, hey, you've got to be applying for other things, and when we don't. One example being like the Halswell Anzac service, for example, where we've given them a lower amount, so they'll have to find other funding elsewhere for the Anzac service. This is one that's we're the only source of funding, and certainly providing more than we have for other things.
Okay, so what is being recommended is less than half of what they are asking for.
Yes.
So working with them at applying for and sourcing other sources, finding other sources of funding is definitely on the list. I actually spoke to their president 3 days ago and said, and so I'm due to, after this, meet with them, go to one of their committee meetings and actually talk over how to apply for other funding. At the moment, that's probably a capability capacity issue with the organisation and knowing how to and what to do. So there is that plan, and so that's why also the amount granted to them is lower than they have got in previous years, which has been around the 7,000 mark. Yes. So it's really saying to them, you've got to look for other funding.
Yeah, and the last.
And I have mentioned that to them.
Yeah, and the last 2 years they haven't applied for other forms of funding as well. If you happen to know for the year.
I think there's probably been mainly a concentration on digging into their own pockets. Things.
Yeah.
With that, so they've probably applied for limited funding from, I think, possibly sort of other sources, sponsorship sources, but I'm trying to lift their capability to look at other funding.
So in short, you're helping them with that.
Absolutely.
Nice
I've done
work.
a lot of work with this group and continuing to do a lot of work with it.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you.
No further questions.
No further questions. Thank you, Marie. Right. And so moved by Tyler. Yep. And seconded by Mark. And all those in favor say aye.
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 Against? None. Carried. Thank you. Moving along, we've got the board area report. Bailey?
Yep, thank you. I will just take any questions if there are any.
Taken as read. Questions? No questions? None?
It's very nice.
Okay, good. So do I have a mover? Andre, seconded by Sarah. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. And now for the elected members information exchange. So we've got updates from Andre and then Tyler. Okay. And then Mark. And then Marie. All right, Andre.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, probably just start by thanking. I think the commentary around Halswell losing all its semi-rural charm has maybe been premature. We've had wild deer on the loose, which is actually on the front page of the Halswell newsletter, which is nice. If you go down Halswell Road, before you get into Halswell, you see sheep on Halswell Road. If they don't semi-rural, then what is? I visited the community garden on Saturday. They had an open day that was really good. Sounds like there are some things that our community board may be able to help with there. stay tuned. This week I visited Lady Wigram Retirement Village, Somerset and Anthony Wilding and Banbury Park last week. Definitely a lot of concern around bus routes. And some with good access, some not so much. Banbury Park nowhere near any form of bus. Met with staff earlier this week around mowing. There's certainly was always going to be some teething issues when we moved from contractors to in-house parks maintenance services. And it sounds like what may have been underestimated is all the many swales and stormwater basins around Halswell, and they are not able to be mown quickly. Stay tuned on that. It sounds like Halswell may simply need more resourcing than others, given the amount of things like stormwater basins in the area, and still to come over the next few years. There's going to be a lot of mowing and a lot of maintenance needed. Hosted a drop-in clinic today to Hapua. The pool is looking a beaut. Looking forward to that opening. And just lastly, I probably should have started with a negative, not finished with a negative. But I'm finishing with the negative. Yeah, sorry. Spark Road closure. Apparently it's not seen as necessary to notify the public or elected members that Sparks Road is going to be closed. That is absolute insanity. There's no other way to describe it.
On permanent basis or?
Not permanent. Certainly not permanent. Definitely temporary.
Build a wall.
But we're talking, if a full road closure, it's probably best to let the public know. I would have thought. Likewise, elected members, even if you just let me know, I'll let the public know. But even that doesn't happen. So the note I got back when I queried it, these are works being undertaken by a private developer. Hello.
Sorry.
Put yourself on mute, please. We've got a gripe here. Thanks, Kamal. The response I got back, these are works being undertaken by a private developer. As such, no start work notice will be produced. It's nuts. Like whether it's a private developer doing the work, whether it's council doing the work, whether the Queen herself is doing the work, it's probably best to let the public know. The fact that elected members can't get a notice of Sparks Road, of all roads being closed.
It's a main road, for goodness sake.
Yeah.
Especially where the main road's blocked.
I'm just dumbstruck at this point. Like, I've been asking for this stuff for years. Put through a notice motion in November last year, and still can't get a notice sent about Sparks Road being closed. Yeah. Beats me. Really does beat me.
Yeah, we'll fix it.
Well, doing as high as I can on this organisation, multiple times about the issue, and here we are. Sparks Road's closed without letting anyone know. So, yeah, beats me, Mark. It beats me.
The council who approve the temperature management plans, they can at least let us know somehow.
They could.
Let's see if we can join these dots and get it.
It would be really good if they could. So I'm going to ask for like the 50th time if we can get some staff advice on why we can close Sparks Road without letting elected members in the public know.
Yeah,
it's insane. It's getting beyond a joke. There's so many more works to come along all of these, really, really busy roads. And if we're just going to close and not let the public elected members know, it's just going to be an ongoing nuisance.
Right.
And I'm going to have to finish elected members exchanges all the time by what road's being closed without letting anyone know. Oh, sorry, I will just add with one further negative. Quaves Road, same thing. Closed the other day. Don't let elected members know. Don't let the public know. Stupid.
Right. Okay.
Andre Moore, who is he?
Yeah.
Who is this?
Sorry to end with negative.
Yeah.
On a positive, had a great week. Actually, yeah, it's been a great week. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Andre. Now we go to Tyler.
I am going to start on a positive at the moment. I would like to personally thank Mike and Francis Singleton from the Margaret Stoddard Village residents. There's been multiple requests to get rubbish bins installed in between Bartlett and Mandeville Street. And if you refer to the community board report, you'll see that Riccarton's probably very engaged in terms of their CSRs, particularly around waste, roading and footpaths, water supply, wheelie bins, and safety and hazards. Obviously, I call it the new Gotham City because of how busy it is. But we had managed to get a rubbish bin installed. Didn't know how hard it was until we actually got it done. So shout out to staff for actually taking that CSR on board and listening to the residents of the Margaret Stoddard Village. The next one is Ninja Valley. I don't know if you guys have heard about it yet.
Oh, we've got Gotham City and now Ninja Valley.
Yep, we do. Ninja Valley is currently in the Bushman Mall, and I needed to make this public because they can't. It's been a very difficult and turbulent time for Ninja Valley to get their doors open because of stringent processes based on the provisions that are in place around our building bylaws and what's the word? Consents.
Consenting.
So, Ninja Valley, phenomenal place. Chipmunks on steroids, amazing place for kids to be able to go to. They are a bit dumbfounded by Bush and Mall because they need to bring themselves up to spec, which means that Ninja Valley cannot continue their work. So I'm wanting to continue to advocate for them to get their doors open because it's going to be an absolute game changer for the city. They've already spent millions of dollars into investing into this massive place. I took Merv Phil there, and he's really excited to actually have their doors open. So we'll have to keep the board posted. But the problem that we're having within council regulations is, in order for Ninja Valley to be open, even though their consents are all up to scratch and they're doing phenomenally well, is Bush and aren't there yet. So we just need to try and see what we can do to differentiate both Ninja Valley's consent and then the building warrant of fitness and what they need to do. The last one is around basic CSRs with me. It's been quite popular around Church Corner, particularly those two islands outside of Countdown. There's been weirdly quite a lot of support for the, the slip lane, particularly from the village residents from the old people's home saying thanks for doing it. So it's to the board. They want to thank you.
Which slip lane is that?
The one going into Coolitz from Main South. They're able to cross the road without actually feeling unsafe now. And then also Fulton Hogan, I've already told everyone about that. They needed to just let the council know that they're going to be doing that. So I've had a few visits from residents, and I'm talking to the English Street residents at the moment around the difficulties that they're having, particularly with that left hand going into Coolitz. So there are some local residents that are sort of a bit perplexed, and by all means they should be. So it's really good to be able to get out, listen to other people's views and see what we can do going forward come next week. The options that are coming to us are actually pretty good. They're wide ranging. They've taken into account all of the elected members' questions, but the sticking point obviously is those two islands outside of Countdown, which will mitigate the cyclists, very confident ones might add, cyclists being able to go into Yoldhurst. That's the only reason why those islands are there. Because they're very confident cyclists, and I wouldn't cycle that. I would actually go down to the left out. I would never turn to go into Yoldhurst. I'd use the footpath. But we'll have to see how we get on with that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Kia ora.
Right. Thank you, Helen. We have Mark next.
Oh, can I have a word, Marie? Peter, I'm not sure if my phone sent a message. Peter Simmons is downstairs.
No, he's
here.
He's there? Good, thank you.
Sling it all.
All right. Right, Mark.
Thank you. I want to do a big shout out to some staff. I went along to the Innovation Expo a week or two ago, and the roading team were there with Steve Guy and his merry men, and they saw me coming and obviously pulled up a really fantastic image of Amy's Road, along with the special sensing they've been doing of the subsurface of roads around all of Christchurch.
I'll kiss up, say.
Yeah, mate, this deserves a kiss up. I don't know if you've seen the images, but the images were phenomenal. On the images they showed, basically the entirety of Amy's Road was blue and red.
I saw that. You showed me, yeah.
Which means that it's completely stuffed. And we were planning this coming sealing season, which is starting about now, to reseal it. And having seen that, we're now going to have a conversation about, hey, we need to rebuild that road, not reseal it. So, you know, the work they've done with this AI and subsurface sensing is phenomenal. And I really look forward to them coming to any of us councillors and elected members to show us the results in that area so we can start to intelligently plan the way forward with the street renewals and resealing. So we're not going to waste money on resealing something. So
were those blue dots leaks, Mark?
No, it's the actual subgrade. So it's underneath the surface. It's absolutely stuff. Won't carry weight. Vibrates all the surrounding properties. So it's testing that's proven what our residents have been telling us for the last 10 years. So it's really good. Thanks to the team for that. That's really awesome. And looking forward to trying to land what we need to get done rather than throwing good money after bad resealing. Been a busy week with Waikola Park. managed to get the tree planting consultation extended by, I think it's 13 days. It was due to finish last Monday. It's now on the 20th. So that's given the community an extra couple of weeks to get their thoughts together and get their submissions in. And a huge shout out to the engagement team and the parks team who are working on that, because they've got a meeting that's probably finished by now. That was on Waipuna Park this afternoon at the same time as our board meeting. So they pulled that together extremely quickly and got that out there today. Thankfully, the weather was obviously good, which was great. And they've also put on the second meeting tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
So 2:00 tomorrow, we're going on Waipuna Park to listen further to some questions from the community and hear their feedback. And hopefully we get some good submissions in so we can plan this really well. And one thing I've been telling the residents quite clearly is that please put in your submissions, whether you have problems or whether you agree with what's being planned, let us know, because we need to hear. We need to get a good balance of views. And I've been assuring them that when you put in your submission with any concerns, the staff really do listen to it, and they'll make adjustments to the plan where they can to make it better for everyone. So never be afraid to tell the council what you think, because we generally do want to listen. We want to actually get the best result for the community rather than just what gets planned. So please never be afraid to tell us. I'd like to thank Community Parks. They're doing a great job. The teething issues with the mowing was certainly an issue. I had 3 or 4 parks immediately chucked in my face to say, hey, look, the grass is too long. Immediately, almost the same day, they got mowing. So when they hear about parks that have been, perhaps missed a wee bit, don't be afraid to let the community parks know, because they will get onto it and they'll get it done. I had one earlier this week, which was raised with me in the same day. It was getting mowing. So they're doing a sterling job. They've had a few issues getting started training and using the new equipment, but they're up and running and they'll respond really well. They are doing a great job. So thank you to them. I have had a bit of a catch up with the one of the local school liaison police out at Hornby today, and going to be catching up further with them around some of the issues that have been raised in the community. So look forward to looping in with Tiger as well, because I think it's youth related by and large. So we'll get some, corridor going here. And another one that I had today in my drop-in session was Sir John Mackenzie Drive through Yulhurst Park. There's concerns there of speed and size and volume of traffic using that as a bypass to miss Carmen Road, State Highway 1. So
Classic.
I'd like us to try and find, I'll probably raise this with Andrew Hensley and see if we can just get a check done to make sure there's nothing really odd going on there. Because I heard about a double length stock truck going down Sir John Mackenzie Drive. I don't know if you know Sir John Mackenzie Drive, it's not that wide. To have a big stock truck going through there, something's wrong.
Guilty.
So that pretty much covers me. And hopefully next week when we get to council and start talking about our beloved Tudor Corner, we can get a solution that shall work for us.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Now for me, just I'd like to shout out also to staff. The last couple of months, governance team has been really busy and organizing the community service awards and the youth service awards. And thank you all also for coming this afternoon. We've had one youth service award. I think we have one more award left, and that's going to be in November. So, yep, that's all good. And now in one of those awards that I actually went to was with the Riccarton Community Patrol. And I would just like to reiterate, especially to our Riccarton representatives, Riccarton Community Patrol is struggling with membership. And if we can probably help them put it out that, because I think they are a dying species. Riccarton will lose the community patrol without the volunteers. They are really needing volunteers in Riccarton. I know they have pointed out that because the residents are, it's a transient community, lots of students, and they would prefer actual permanent residents in the community rather than students patrolling. but
Are there any?
Please start us up.
Helen's in.
Helen, you can patrol. Yes, yes. So yeah, just want to reiterate that if we can at least put it out there. That, yeah, we need that. And also, we had this morning we had the board chairs meeting, and I will circulate the minutes as soon as it comes out. But there was an update on the annual plan process, and we will have teams from Parks and from Transport coming to the board to talk to us about our specific projects before Christmas. So that one, and then possibly from Three Waters. That's not yet sure, but at least Parks and Transport are confirmed. So they will just organize with the staff when they will come and present to us. For the next board meeting, for the next elected members information exchange, I would like to request everybody, if you remember at the beginning of our term, there are board appointees to certain organizations. If we can please have a report back from all your organizations that you have been appointed to represent the board. Yes, at the November meeting. Okay, so like Mark and I are in Riccarton Bush, and who else is in whichever, Sarah.
Yeah.
Yep, and Hank, you've got Waipuna.
Yep.
Yep, and Debbie, Christchurch Beautiful.
Keep Christchurch Beautiful.
Keep Christchurch Beautiful. Yeah, I don't know who else.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah. So if we can have report back at the next board meeting. But, right. And Gamal and Helen, have you been appointed to any other?
I'll just check if everything.
No.
Or
No,
anything to share at all?
I certainly haven't. I'd actually like to make a request, though, for a briefing on those fast track projects. There's some that apply to Christchurch and Canterbury, and perhaps either October or November be quite good to have a staff member in for half an hour to take us through which ones apply to Christchurch.
Okay.
Because I had read it in the media and I'd missed a few actually, which are our board.
Finalised. There's still a process before they're finalised, so it may be best to get a briefing after they are definitely finalised.
Oh, when are they going to be finalised?
I think it takes another month or in a bit. I think it might be another 6 weeks or something. I could be wrong on that.
All right. The Bailey will look into it.
Bailey will have a look. I think it might be better if we're briefed earlier, actually, because it means that we know what's pending, and then if people are concerned, they can write to central government, can't they?
That'll be on Tuesday, won't it?
Yes. Or council can actually say our councillors can say something too as well if they want to.
They always want to.
All right. Thank you, Helen.
Thank you.
Mark.
Yeah, I just wanted to pass over to Sarah because she's got an event this Saturday, I believe.
Yeah, so following on from the committees that we're appointed to, I'm on the Hornby Community Care Trust board, and this Saturday there's an open day. Obviously doing a massive refurbishment of the centre since the library has relocated to the Matatiki Centre, and it's really exciting. They've Linda, the manager there, has there's been a real gutting of the existing space and building of the health hub, which is part of the building. And yeah, got a sausage sizzle, bouncy castle, bit of fun happening on Saturday. If anyone's around that wants to drop in, feel free to.
And potentially launches a fundraising.
Sorry, a fundraising tree.
Yes.
Yeah, we buy leaves and they get to our wall. Yeah.
We got branches.
Branches, dig deep for branch.
All right, cool. Nothing else? Nobody else, right?
I'll quickly say, look, Hornby Market's on this weekend as well. So on Saturday, there's a couple of competing events in Hornby. Happening in Hornby this weekend.
Great.
So,
yeah,
come along for Greater Hornby
great.
Market.
Thanks. Okay, we close now with the karakia.
Thank you.
Unia, unia.
Nabaya kikiro tapu
Ya mama, tinaka. Tetinana, tiwaiwa, itinana, takato.
ko
Ero, Rairia, Akiruna, Tetina, Tina, Urie, Hakie. Thank you. Meeting closed.
Kia ora.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll send out a list.
Yeah. I asked Faith to
people what they were appointed to.
I'm also part of Tama.
Yeah.
Do you like to report on that?
Yeah, everything that we were all appointed to.
But we don't get.
Any done reports? They're out.